Birth order. What exactly is it, and does it shape who we are? While birth order is the order in which you are born in your family, it is usually correlated to your personality. Oldest, middle child, youngest, and only child are examples of birth orders. But is it true that birth order determines your personality and behavior, or are there other factors that contribute to making you the person who you are today? In my family, I am the oldest, and I have a little brother who is the middle child, and I have a sister who is the youngest. Being the oldest, I have learned that I have a lot of responsibilities to take ownership of and also give a good example to my siblings. But overall, I see that I do have some character traits in which that birth order may have an impact to it. For instance, I tend to try and lead a lot. Now, my brother, on the other hand, he is definitely a negotiator. Being the middle child, he doesn't get as much attention as one would think that every child should have an evenly amount of attention from their parents, but he didn't, and hasn't. And my little sister is very spoiled in a way, being the youngest child. She has gotten away with more things than my brother and I have, and it truly shows that the youngest child tends to be the favorite of the parents.
To better understand the effects of birth order, I went out and interviewed a few people. Let's see what they had to say.
I actually feel that being the youngest was an advantage for me because I think my parents were harder on my older siblings and they were tired and over it by the time it came around to me.
I feel like my brother has had more of an advantage than me because when we moved here, my parents didn't really know much about, like high school and college process and all that, so he got away with the easy. I have to do a ton more work than him.
I don't think they had any advantage growing up. I feel maybe I had more of an advantage growing up than them.
I mean, the fact that he's after me, he gets to know what's coming up for him in life. So in that way, he had an advantage over me, where I was going in blank, trying out new things. He didn't have to do that.
Well, in some ways, yes. Since he was the older sibling and the older child, I felt like there were times when my parents were very focused on what he was doing.
So being the oldest, I was always the one who had to fight with my parents for certain privileges, so therefore they had it a little bit easier when they were growing up.
I don't know if my closer in age sister had much of an advantage because basically my parents were parenting both of us. Okay, we were only 18 months apart. I think the youngest one got the advantage of having our folks parent both of us, and then there was an 8-year break before they had another one. And I think that they benefited greatly because my parents were more mature, could handle parenting more then.
I think my parents did a good job of treating us all fairly. I don't feel that they favored, my other sisters over me. I think at times my sisters and I felt that maybe they favored my brother a little bit since he was so outnumbered in the household. It was, dominated by women, but I don't really feel that anybody had a extreme or marked advantage over anyone else. We were all treated fairly.
No, I don't. We all, coming up, we all were one big family. We grew up in the city, and what I had, they had. What they had, I had.
No, because obviously I'm the favorite child. My dad loves me more. My mom, we're okay. They don't love my brother. They gave me everything I want.
Yep, I don't feel she had any advantage at all. I think the advantage was with me.
Yes. My mom babies them all the time, and if I was to ask to do something and then they would ask the same question, she would say yes to them because, I just want to say yes.
I imagine that My older sister, who's the eldest, got a lot of attention being the firstborn. And then I do feel that as the youngest, I received quite a bit of attention, especially from my mother because I was her baby and I was the last one.
No, my brother has gotten most of the attention as he is older than me, and so they've had to watch over him more than me.
I think they gave all three of us a lot of attention, especially since my mom was not working. But maybe off and on, being the only girl child, I guess I would get a little preferred treatment than my brothers.
Yes, my parents gave me the most attention.
No, because usually it was just me following my brother, so they knew that I was just doing what he was doing.
Okay, so I don't know if I would say I got the most attention, but they definitely put a lot of responsibility on me growing up. I think my brother, the first brother that I have, probably was considered more the favorite of the family.
I think I received a lot of attention just because I was heavily involved in a lot of stuff, and I think that was a big part of it. I was a 3-sport athlete. My dad coached me, for a big part of that. My mom wasn't working yet. She wasn't going back to school for nursing school, so I think a lot of the attention, did come to me. I think my youngest sister maybe got a little bit less because then my mom went to school, started working, so there was a little bit less for her.
Now, as I said before, I think my parents did a good job of treating us all fairly. I'm the third out of 4, and so when I was born, my mom had 3 young children that she was taking care of, so she was, spread pretty thin, but I think it was pretty fair, for sure.
No, not as such. We both were given equal attention. My mom always used to say that, you guys are like my fingers. If you cut one finger, it will bleed. If you cut the other one, it will bleed. So it's not like that the one is more special or the another one is not that special. So no, we were always given the same amount of love, attention, and everything.
No. Equal, I guess.
When I was a kid, not really, but not until recent where my siblings were all grown up, they did give me attention. They basically are on my back now.
Yes.
Kind of, I guess. Because, I was very, needy as a child. But, I also had, my grandma and my uncles there. So it was kind of like a balanced attention.
I would like to be in charge. I think anyone who becomes a teacher enjoys the role of being the ringleader in the room.
So I'm working for a big company, and if it is, let's say, a new initiative and a new project, and if no one's really done it before, I wouldn't mind taking the lead on it. And because anyway, whoever is going to take the lead on it, we're all going to be learning for the first time. So I wouldn't mind taking the lead on it. But if somebody else has experience, wants to do it, I wouldn't mind being part of the project and helping them.
I'd rather be in charge of the project than help out in it.
Well, I'm the type of person that would want to take charge because I don't think I would like someone constantly telling me what to do. I'd rather be able to plan, organize, and then give other people work to do just so that I could be more in control.
All right, so I am sort of a perfectionist, and I really value other people's opinion of me, so I usually would be considered to be the leader because I would want to make sure everyone did everything correctly, and therefore I would be in charge.
That's a tough question, If you ask me, in what I do now as a teacher, I want to be the teacher and I want to control things and I want people to leave me alone and let me do what I do in the classroom. If it's going into another direction where something is collaborative in nature, I think I'd prefer to be the helper, somebody that's a part of the team rather, than the leader of that team.
So for me, it really would depend on what the project is. If it's something, an idea that I came up with and something that I was really passionate about, I would definitely want to take a leadership role and run it so that I could be, make decisions, and definitely influence the outcome of it. If it's something that I'm not really passionate about, then I could also, be a good team player. So it really depends on what the project is.
I'd rather be in charge. And well, let's put it according to the project. If I'm sure of what the project is or what's going on, then sure, I'd like to be in charge.
I'll be more of the helper, because although I like trying on like challenges and be like a leader and stuff, I'm not very vocal. So most of the time I get lazy after like a day.
Definitely be in charge.
I would rather help out. I don't know. It's just a lot better for me to help out.
I do not always think I'm right. I often think that I'm right, but I'm pretty good about hearing both sides of things. I will say, as I get older, I do tend to think I probably have a little more life experience than others, and maybe I'm right a little more often, but I'm always open-minded to discussing things.
I don't think I'm necessarily all the time right, but I do think that I have good reasoning behind all the decisions I make. Hell yeah.
No, I don't think I'm always right.
I like to think that I am. Obviously, I never say anything to anyone. I do hear them out, but I'll be honest that I do usually think in my head that I am the one that's right.
Okay, so I know I'm not always right. I like to believe I am, but I know when I'm wrong, I'll admit it, and I'll let somebody else take credit.
I leave open the possibility that I can be wrong, although I usually think I am right. What really bothers me is when I think somebody is using bad logic to make a case or an argument that is different. And I think that's my pet peeve. You know, you can have an opinion, but it better be logical what you're doing and that kind of stuff. And if you're not there, then you are wrong to me, okay, and I am right.
No, I definitely do not think I'm always right. I would characterize myself as a reflective person, so I feel as though I'm constantly questioning what I do and how I do it and how I come across, and that's just because in an effort to want to, you know, better myself and improve myself. I see myself as a work in progress. Hopefully will feel that way throughout my entire life. So yeah, no, I'm never the kind of person that thinks I'm always right.
No. I like to think I am a lot of times, but yeah, no. Hey. Sometimes I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Hey, Lord. But sometimes I'm right. But even when I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right. When I'm right, I think I'm wrong. When I'm wrong, I'm right.
I'm not always right, but I am right most of the time.
No, I don't think I'm right all the time. You know, not everyone knows everything.
So after reviewing all of these interviews, I realized that perhaps birth order may have an impact on who you are, but there's also the fact that a family and may have their culture involved in their beliefs and may enforce them on their children, which may have an impact on who they are and grow up being raised in a different way than what scientists believe that birth order impacts who they are.
So, does birth order truly shape who you are? Behind all the research that I've done and the interviews I made, I believe that birth order does take part in who you are, but the way that you are raised is what truly matters. It's more about nurture, not nature.